I feel the need to do a crazy intro today. We haven't done anything weird in a while, like real formal. You me do it?
Yeah. What do you have in mind?
This sounds amazing. Let's do this. Ready? Hey, welcome to No Dumb Questions. I'm Destin, and here's Matt.
Hi.
It felt right, didn't it?
I just wanted to bring the energy and positivity.
We've never done an intro like that, so it felt good. I've got some stuff to update you on today that I think you're going to like. Maybe you don't. I don't really care.
I feel like we're pretty updated. Are
you?
you holding out?
Well, I don't know. So, first of all, I want to congratulate you, Matt.
On
your Wikipedia page.
What?
Yeah. There's a Wikipedia page.
What this is about?
Before you open it,
All right, haven't opened it.
Before you open it, I just want to discuss a couple things about your name. Right?
Okay.
So when you Google Matt Whitman on the internet, what comes up normally?
I would say a B- to B+ level attractive man with a handsome beard and a shaved head who looks to be physically fit and an enjoyable conversation partner.
Yeah, and what about you though? Do you ever come up? So tell everybody about the Canadian guy.
Yeah, there's if you Google Matt Whitman and go to images, it's like half me and half him, and you can't tell which one is which. Did you do this?
Yeah, you told me to, so I did it.
Okay.
The funny part is he looks exactly like you.
No, he doesn't.
He looks exactly like you without the beard.
I'm searching this right now. You don't even know what I look like without a beard.
He's got a tan suit.
It is so weird. The first 5 images that come up, it's me, him wearing like a ribbon or something, him wearing a suit, me at my desk, him, and you would think it's all the same guy.
Okay, so he's from Nova Scotia, Matt Whitman, Hammonds Plains, Lucasville. But do you know what's so beautiful about this for me, personally?
Tell me.
Is that this dude is constantly getting into trouble. in the headlines, if you Google Matt Whitman in the news, okay, first thing, banned from committee meetings, councillor Matt Whitman shows up. So you've got this doppelganger with your name that's just a total jerk. Matt Whitman has a media sensitivity problem.
He's not a total jerk. I've interacted with this guy. I mean, we can't help but run into each other on the internet.
Have you really?
Well, I'm sure people have sent me stuff meant for him and vice versa. I can tell the difference, but oh man, here's one. Here's a political cartoon. Let's see. Matt Whitman's big mouth keeps getting him into trouble.
And it's your name, and he looks like you.
Well, this cartoon does not look like me at all.
Oh, this is funny because you're trying to hold back because you're afraid he might listen to the podcast. That's great. Okay.
I'm quite sure he doesn't listen to the podcast. And
okay, well, I'm going to read these.
Oh my goodness. If you search Matt Whitman, why is there a picture of Trent?
You went to the Wikipedia page. I told you not to do that.
No, I have not. This is just in the generic Google search results.
Go to your Wikipedia page and look at the picture.
Okay.
That's when Trent came over and hung out with you, right?
Yes, I remember it clearly.
Somebody removed it. It's gone. Never mind. For the longest time, it was a picture of Trent on your Wikipedia page.
Why?
Which was fun. Anyway, I want to get back to Matt Whitman. Hold on. Let's get back to Matt Whitman. I'm just going to read some of these, and I would like to hear your reaction because obviously these are issues that need to be addressed. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Matt Whitman news search. Okay, here we go. Number 1. Halifax councillor Matt Whitman barred from committees for 3 months. Sir, do you have anything to say for yourself?
No, it's not me. I've never even been to Halifax. I didn't do that. That's what I have to say for myself.
February 13th, 2018. Matt Whitman stands by white supremacist message.
What? No, that definitely was not. I was getting ready for sabbatical. I can even account for where I was, and it wasn't in white supremacy. That's not me.
February 2nd, 2018. Halifax councillor under fire for retweeting pro-white groups, and there's clearly a picture of you in a cap right next to that.
Wait, what's the date?
That was February 2nd.
No, that wasn't me. I remember what I was tweeting on February 2nd. Well, I don't offhand, but I can scroll back, and I'm sure that what I was tweeting was not white supremacist in any way.
Oh my gosh, there's one I'm not even going to read. I'm not even going to read that one. So it's funny, haha. Oh, wait, here's a good one. Matt Whitman's Idiocy and Free Speech. I like that one. That's a personal favorite.
I am for free speech.
Matt Whitman's Deafening Silence. In all seriousness, what do you do when you have someone on the internet that looks exactly like you and has your name and does all of these things that you wouldn't do? How do you handle that? Like, I have a unique name, Destin Sandlin. I've never found another Destin Sandlin, so I don't know what this is like. So how do you guard your name on the internet? Because you and I both know a name is worth more than gold. A good name.
It had never occurred to me until we talked the other day that anyone might actually think that was me. I don't know. I could try to go by a cool nickname like pro wrestlers or rappers do.
No, I'm being serious. Like, what? I mean,
What?
So it's never been an issue for you?
Better proposal than that? Like, what do you do? The dude looks like me, and I don't know if any of it's accurate or not, but at least his political opponents seem to think that he thinks not very cool stuff. What do I do? Hope people can tell the difference between bald guys?
That's an interesting point because he is a politician, so the needle might be swung a little too far, in the direction of slander, now that I think about that. That's interesting.
I don't know. I've never met a Canadian who was openly racist and white supremacist. And you got to admit, like, to some extent lately, that's been a little bit of a crazy, like, wild slur that you can kind of throw at people when you disagree with them. And maybe sometimes it's accurate, and maybe sometimes it's like, you're a Nazi. And what they really mean is, like, I disagree with your opinion. Couldn't define what Nazism is, but I don't like you. So it's possible he could be an okay guy. I don't know anything about what he actually thinks about anything.
Okay, cool. I was just wondering what your reaction was to that, because I've been thinking about it.
What would you do if you were me?
I don't know, man. Do you defend yourself?
I don't think so. I didn't do anything wrong. Well, nothing on this.
First of all, is there ever a mix-up? I mean, do people think that you're him and vice versa? Do you ever get tweets from him or anything?
I don't think so, but every now and then, I don't know, you get weird tweets. Maybe that explains it. But no, I mean, I think he followed me. Let me look. I think he followed me a while back, and I will not read the private message, but I will acknowledge whether or not we talked. How do I even do this? Because the algorithm is going to think I'm searching myself. All right. Matt Whitman. Let's see what we get. There's me, as I expected. I don't know, Matt Whitman Halifax?
Oh, man. Somebody else has the Matt Whitman Twitter account. They joined in 2008, and they've never tweeted.
I know.
Yeah.
It's hard to track somebody like that down to get it from them.
Yeah.
I did try. I mean, good on them for being efficient.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I also think you might be being just a tiny bit bald person racist. Because I don't think we all look alike. I think that there's a lot of different head shapes and different, like, balding lines. I mean, there are some that, let's be honest, they're just not very flattering. And then there are some that are symmetrical and perfect. And like, if you were going to lose your hair, you would want to lose it in exactly that shape because it looks like an eagle soaring through the sky, ready to strike its prey. And I feel like that's what I got. And his is more like, oh, dude, bummer, old guy bald.
No, it's actually
nope.
The furrowed brow looks the same.
Nope.
In the shape of the
different
head.
Nope.
Okay, whatever you guys.
Mine
think,
is
man.
more confident, I would say.
Yeah.
His looks more.
Yeah, yours
white
definitely looks more
supremacist.
humble.
Yeah, I would say mine's more humble for sure. Yeah, I just don't see it.
That was it. I was just wondering what you thought about that, dude.
I don't know. It's one of those internet realities where it was a fun coincidence to meet the guy. And yes, I occasionally Google myself to see what's going wrong. And then I discover all kinds of things that I'm glad are being said about him and not me.
That's awesome, man. That's all I had. So,
okay, wait a minute, though. I'm over here on the Wikipedia page. This is a 2-sentence Wikipedia entry with 10 references.
Yeah, I saw that.
Wow.
I saw that. They anchored the 10-minute Bible hour pretty hardcore. I mean, that's legit, right?
Yeah. I don't know what some of these references are.
But congratulations. Thank you to your mom for doing that.
She is a wonderful woman. I continue to appreciate her so much.
There's something I want to tell you that happened because you've been off the grid because you got back in Lander and promptly jumped back into all your social circles and stuff, and we haven't talked that much. So I need to inform you that my brother and I have spent a lot of time developing the patron flair on the subreddit. Did you know this?
Yes, I did know this, though I don't think I have all the details. Where are we at?
So it's done. So people in the subreddit, on the desktop version of the subreddits, if they got the link in their patron messaging system there, they can choose black, blue, green, orange, or red patron flare with wings. The winged hussar flare, it exists. And so that's it. I just want to tell you that. It took a really long time to set up.
Okay, I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Isn't that neat?
oh yeah, first one right at the top. Yeah,
That's pretty
congratulations, Amos Parnell, for the Detroit Red Wing looking winged hussars. That's nice.
It's pretty cool.
Oh, it's nice.
Anyway, we spent a lot of time on that. And one thing about it is you actually have to send me your username from behind the patron wall, because I've got a little spreadsheet set up where people can tell me what color they want. So anyway, that exists, and it's awesome.
Nice.
So I'm very thankful to my brother for helping me do that.
Thank you to your brother.
Yeah.
And does it work on r/NDQ as well? Oh, yes, it does.
Yeah, I did it on both. It's weird because I have to do every single one by hand. I have to go, like, Reddit has redesigned the whole front end. Have you seen this?
No. Everyone.
Yeah, you've been off the grid.
How can that possibly be? I have been off the grid. I'm sorry. I've had some stuff waiting for me when I got back. No, every other subreddit that I go to, if I'm subscribed, I apply for a flare and then I just get it.
Yeah, but the whole front end is different on Reddit. And so you have to actively go back and click on old Reddit in order to get back to the normal viewing experience. But they're trying, I don't know what the deal is, man. All these different services that work and people sign up because they love them, they all say the same thing. They're like, you know what we need to do? We need to change everything that people love.
And I think we're both probably picturing the exact same chief offender.
What do you mean?
Snapchat?
Oh, yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Because what's that been? 6 months now since they mixed it up, and I don't think anybody's happy still.
No, I don't use it anymore. I switched over to Instagram.
Yep, I'm done with it too.
Instagram changed to be more like what old Snapchat was like. Snapchat got weird really fast. Everybody abandoned it. I mean, I used to be on Snapchat all the time.
You were trying to be a Snapchat master. Like you put serious thought into that, man. And then you put me in charge of your Snapchat for a day, and you were like, this is an opportunity, Matt. This is an opportunity. I have things to do. When I come back, I expect this is an opportunity. You seize this. And I was like, I
did not.
Okay. Hey, look, this is a construction site. Oh, check it out. I'm having waffles. That's all I could think of. Here's your phone back, Destin. I'm so sorry. I couldn't think. I don't know what to do.
I don't know.
But you came up with all kinds of clever stuff. So you do all that on Instagram now?
I do a bit, yeah, on Instagram stories, but I don't know. It's different. It's different for sure. Instagram stories, you can jump through them so fast. You're competing for eyeballs, and I don't really want to compete for eyeballs. I just want to do fun stuff and help people be happy about the world.
You just want to get the eyeballs for free.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, your Snapchat was a big giant goof around thing. You're just better at goofing around than most people.
Yeah.
Because especially on Snapchat, you don't care if you look stupid.
But here's the question I have for you. Why?
No, I have a question for you real quick.
Okay.
Did you ever redo a snap in your entire Snapchat run? Or did you just post whatever you did the first time every time?
I would redo a couple. Like, mostly I would edit them if there was something like somebody said a kid's name in the background, or, you know, there was something I didn't want for personal information reasons or something like that.
But not because you screwed up. Like, if you screwed up, you just kept it, right?
More often than not. I'm trying to replay everything in my head, but yeah, pretty much the screw-ups are what made it fun, I think.
I think you're ahead of the game there, man. I think most of us are still a little bit afraid to look like we screw up on the internet, but it's always so much more fun when you just put it out there and let the screw up happen.
I think that's why Chris Pratt's so good on Instagram stories. He just kind of does whatever. And one time I was watching one of his stories, and he said, "This is the 16th time I've recorded this whatever you call it, this story," or something like that. And he's just like, "I'm a big loser. This is fun." You know, it's pretty good.
I think Chris Pratt might be good on Instagram because Chris Pratt is good.
Yeah, he really is.
He's just so dang likable.
Yeah, to dudes, and, you know, the females obviously like him because he's attractive.
Well, they like pudgy Chris Pratt and they like muscular Chris Pratt. And you can just kind of pick whichever because he sort of vacillates depending on which movie he's in next.
What does that mean?
Have you seen Avengers Infinity War yet?
No, I haven't. But go back. What was that word? Vacillates?
Did I use the word wrong? Well, we have to keep it now because we said we keep screw-ups.
I don't know what the word means.
I mean, that means like bouncing back and forth between two different settings. Like a tubby setting and real skinny ripped setting.
Huh. Okay. I'm going to use that
Vacillate,
word.
I think it's right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes you make me second guess myself more than normal people could. So in Infinity Wars, this doesn't have anything to do with plot.
Okay.
Someone ribs him about that pudgy version, thin version of him just a little bit, and it's enjoyable.
In the movie?
Yeah, it's kind of like a wink, wink, break the fourth wall a little bit, acknowledging that Chris Pratt gains and drops weight all the time.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, he does this thing on Instagram called What's My Snack? And, if he's trying to lose weight, he gets like a piece of dried seaweed for a snack or something like that. And he's always complaining about it. It's pretty fun. Did
you see the video he recorded after he saw A Quiet Place?
No.
It was awesome. Have you ever come out of a movie and you don't know why it was important, but this was important?
Yeah.
It wasn't just a movie. This is a part of my story now. This affected me. I saw this at exactly the right time. Like that time I saw Pete's Dragon and then called you after.
Oh, yeah. I specifically remember that.
Yeah, it was pretty important. It still is. I felt like you understood then and you understand now.
I completely do, man.
Someday we'll get past that.
Go ahead. I didn't know what to do. You were feeling so many things. And I was like, dude, we're talking about Pete's Dragon, right?
That movie made me feel a lot of things. And as a true friend, sometimes you just have to feel things with your friend that maybe you aren't naturally inclined to feel.
I'm sorry, man.
And you did great at that in like the horrible sense of great.
Okay. Okay, good. Thanks.
No, Chris Pratt had some kind of moment with A Quiet Place, which is fair. I mean, it's a very, very good show. But the video that he recorded gushing over it it's not quite as good as the movie, but it's right up there.
Really?
It is one of my favorite things about the movie was how excited it got Chris Pratt. How did we get to talking about Chris Pratt?
Oh, because he's good at Instagram.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And because you were good at Snapchat, but then you quit. Did I frame that improperly?
Yeah, you did. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, maybe it was Snapchat's fault. That's right. That's how we got there. It was Snapchat's fault. Okay, wait a minute. We're doing the thing again where we're far afield, but watch this. I'm about to track it all back.
Bring it.
This is going to dazzle you.
Okay.
Chris Pratt gets skinny and gets fat sometimes, and boys and girls like that. And he made a really cool video on Instagram, which we got to because Instagram is taking the place of Snapchat, which you're good at because you leave mistakes in there, and Chris Pratt leaves mistakes in there too. But Snapchat is no fun anymore because they had something that worked and then they changed it, and it's frustrating when companies change things for no reason. And Reddit has changed the way their front page works, so it makes it difficult for us to put the winged hussar flare on there. Boom!
I feel like I just re-entered the Earth's atmosphere. That was fantastic. Thank you very much.
Man, if I contribute nothing else to this episode, I've earned my keep.
I appreciate that. Are you ready to do the next Grappler topic?
Yeah. So thank you for making the winged hussar thing. What do I get? Do I get some kind of thing?
No, nothing.
Oh, I accept your judgment.
This episode of No Dumb Questions is sponsored by Away. Their motto is first class luggage at a coach price. And there's a bunch of stuff here that, typically on a podcast you have talking points and stuff. I'm just not going to look at those. I'm going to tell you what it's like to have an Away bag because there were things about travel that I didn't like that were so permeated into my soul that I didn't even know there was an option to get away from them. For example, the whole deal with you're in an airport and your phone's dying and you can't charge it up because that person over there's got all the outlets taken up because they're selfish, and you're sitting there at 5% battery and you just know your phone's going to die, and that's bad when you're traveling. Well, Away has fixed that. They have a built-in battery charger. It's a USB port built into the baggage. You can actually hit it and it'll pop out of the luggage and you can carry it with you like on the taxi or whatever. This thing is legit. It's not, I don't know how to say it other than it's really high quality. It is a built-in USB charging port for your luggage, which is something you had no idea you wanted until you have it. And then every time you go somewhere, you're like, where's my bag? Because I want to charge something right now. Me personally, I like to charge the Nintendo Switch. I've got a USB adapter for the Switch, and man, it's great. That's the only time I get to play video games, and I'm always worried I'm going to run out of juice. So anyway, it's a big deal. That's one thing about Away. Another thing I like is, you know how when you pull a bag, the wheels kind of stick because they're just little plastic axles, or maybe a metal axle around some cast plastic wheels or whatever. I don't know how they did this, but it's like a team of engineers sat in a room and they asked everybody what they didn't like about their luggage, and they attacked those problems and fixed them all, because Away luggage has 4 360-degree wheels. I'm not reading this right now. I'm just telling you from my experience. They have 4 360-degree wheels that feel like they have roller bearings, really smooth roller bearings. You know how when you roll a wheel that has a bearing on it, you can kind of feel those inner ball bearings move? You can't do that on Away. It's like completely smooth, and I don't know how they did that. I want to take it apart sometime, but I love it, so I'm not going to do that. The Away bag is the way to go. You get a 100-day trial. If you like it, you keep it. If you don't like it, you send it back, no questions asked. So there's no risk here. You're going to get an awesome bag, and you're not going to want to send it back because of the 360 spinny wheels. Just trust me, you're going to feel it as soon as you get the bag. It's the first thing you're going to do, and you're going to love it. That's it. For $20 off a suitcase, visit awaytravel.com/NDQ20. That's a new code. Get that right, NDQ20, and use promo code NDQ20 during checkout. You know the different size options you have for carry-ons or whatnot? The engineers got together and figured out every cubic inch you were allowed by the TSA, and they made the bigger carry-on. They have several different sizes. They made the bigger carry-on size exactly that size. So when the TSA agent's like, I'm sorry, sir, that's not, you're like, hey, this fits. So the carry-on is the smaller version. The bigger carry-on, they might make you check that one, but usually it fits for me. It fits under my seat and everything. The medium and the large for extended stays. So if you would like an Away bag for $20 off a suitcase, visit awaytravel.com/NDQ20 and use the promo code NDQ20 during checkout. Thanks to Away for sponsoring the show, and let's get back to the conversation.
Okay, my topic. So apparently there is this thing that some Italian programmer named Alberto Brandolini formulated in 2013 called the asymmetry principle, or so we don't have to bleep everything, the BS asymmetry principle. I'm going to read this to you.
You're a pastor. You're not allowed to say that.
It doesn't count as a swear. I'm quoting.
Oh, okay.
You can say literally anything you want if you're quoting, and it's like carte blanche.
That's not true at all, man.
I think it is.
There are words I still haven't said.
Like, okay, everybody in the conversation who's been a pastor and went to seminary, raise their hand. Looks like I'm the only one. So for now, I'll just go ahead and be the authority on that. Here is
no, but seriously, there are words I haven't said, and I feel like if I do say them, I'll like catch on fire or something.
Seriously?
Not because of God or anything, but it's just like a streak. I've got this streak going, and I can't break it.
I feel like I've been disruptive to your streak.
You have, but there are words I haven't said.
Well, like what? Which ones?
I'm not going to say them.
If they're bleeped, it's like you didn't say them.
Anyway, go ahead.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not trying to get you to swear. I'm reading what the article says.
Got it.
Okay. It goes like this. The amount of energy needed to refute BS is an order of magnitude bigger than to produce it.
Whoa.
Okay, so that resonated with you right off the bat. That sounds like truth to you?
That is amazing. Yeah, but here's my next question. Yeah, that's obviously right. It's not like twice as much. It's an order of magnitude more.
Uh-huh.
Okay, because you can produce it with one tweet or one, like, pick up the phone and call somebody and say, hey, do you know so-and-so did this?
Or one nod of the head and intonation. Well, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an order of magnitude.
Yeah, BS needn't even be particularly specific. BS can just be intonation or hint or letting someone think what they wanted to think anyway.
Wow. Okay, we need to know, what is this called again? It has a principal name?
Okay, yes. This is the BS asymmetry principle, credited to Alberto Brandolini.
That's amazing. I approve, and it's absolutely right. And that is rule number one. That's why you do not engage on the internet when somebody's trying to drag you into the mud. Said another way, This is something my mentor at work said, and I love it. He said, never wrestle with a pig because the pig likes it and you get dirty.
Spot on.
And it's good, man. It's really good.
I've been thinking lately about just how easy it is to cast an aspersion. And if you feel like the solution to that aspersion is truth, you have to unmake a whole bunch of assumptions and making the pieces fit together in a narrative that have already happened in the brain of every person who has heard the BS. Because we're narrative-driven creatures, right? Like we think in terms of story. And the stories have characters. In the most simplistic versions of our stories, you have good guys and bad guys with their evil mustaches and black hats and with their big white hat on white horses. And we like that simple narrative. And if somebody shoots us something on a personal level about somebody else, it can be really easy to quickly reinterpret years of history to be like, oh, yep, now I see it all. It's all become so clear. And so how much work does it then take to get that person to go back and unmake all of those inaccurate connections that they made? That's tough.
Well, it's like, once you do something in your mind, at that point you become invested in it. And then every fact you have after that point, it's like holding an egg up to the light to see if there's one yolk or two yolks in it. You're holding up that new piece of information to the narrative that you've already created. You just said that, right?
Yeah.
I do that.
Yep.
And that's the hardest thing to do, is to keep a skeptical mind with each piece of not only each piece of information that you have, but also the whole story. Like, how do you do that? You can't just hold the new piece of information up. You have to hold the whole story up at all times.
Oh, this is part of why fake news is effective. You've heard this, right? The old theory for what do you do if you're accused of something?
No.
Okay, you adamantly deny, just as a matter of practice, you adamantly deny and immediately offer counter accusations. Right?
What do you mean? So that's the best way to handle it in practice, is what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is that if you don't care about things like integrity or the truth, and you're playing like a politician game or whatever, a business game, and someone accuses you of something, whether it's true or not is irrelevant. Like the game plan, and you'll see every politician use this, every public figure uses this. You deny, I absolutely categorically deny that across the board. Those are the desperate ramblings of someone who is jilted and jealous. And further, I happen to know that that same person is guilty of the exact thing they're accusing me of. That technique, it's been repeated 1 billion times in our lifetimes in the public sphere.
Yeah, but that's not the best way to handle it, right?
Well, it's wrong. It's dead wrong. It's corrupting to one's soul. It's lying. But it is the agreed upon tactic. And the thinking is, like, honestly, how long are people going to care about the accusation that just got thrown at me? Just deny emphatically and offer counter accusations. And then anybody who wants to think that I'm right is going to believe the counter story I just threw out. Anybody who wants to think that I'm guilty was already going to want to think that anyway. All you have to do is throw it into confusion. And then the order of magnitude, the amount of energy required to sort it out, that energy will never be spent.
Yeah, but I think it depends on the topic, right? So I'd like to tell you a little story about a politician here. There were two guys running for a state House of Representatives seat in Alabama.
Just now?
Yeah.
The signs that I saw sitting around there?
Yeah, those were some of them, but there was another election since you've been there, because that was a special election because there was a corruption thing going on with one of the representatives here. Long story short, there were two candidates.
Okay.
And they were both running for in a primary for this House seat. There was a young guy and there was an older guy. And the older guy had a lot of money here in town. And we were at home one day and I got a knock on the door. And I didn't know anything about either one of these guys, okay? I get a knock on the door and Tara says, "Hey, there's somebody at the door. Why don't you go talk to him?" I said, "Sure." And so I walked in there and it was the older politician guy. And I know him because he owns a big business in town and things like that. I don't know him, but I know of him, that kind of person. And I said, "Hey, can I help you?" He's like, "Hey, I'm here. I'd like to just ask for your vote for the election." I said, "Oh, okay, come on in." And so he came in. So I asked him, I said, what are you running on? Like, what's your platform? Why should I vote for you? I have a vote. I'm going to use it somewhere. Why should it be for you? And
good question.
Yeah, his opening line was, well, the guy I'm up against is just too young. He just doesn't understand the world. You know, I'm a seasoned guy. I've done a whole bunch of stuff. But the guy I'm running against, I mean, he's only 34 years old or whatever it was. And I was sitting there thinking, I was like, this guy's not very smart.
No, because you look like you're 19.
Yeah, well, I am 36 years old, and he just told me that, and he said something like he doesn't have a lot of life experience, and you know, he just hasn't seen a lot of things in the world. And I'm sitting there listening to this guy, and I'm like, dude, you are an idiot. Like, I feel like I've got a lot of life experience for my age. And I was like, okay, cool. And I just listened. I didn't say anything. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I see. So, so what else? And then he just kept dogging this dude like over and over and over. And the guy wasn't there to defend himself. And so like about 30 seconds in, I made up my mind who I was voting for, and it wasn't this guy, right?
So have you voted? Did he win?
Oh, I voted for the young guy, obviously. Don't know anything about him. All I know is he was slandered publicly multiple times. Like this guy, the older guy made videos about him. He was slandered, and he just kept his mouth shut. And he said,
wow.
Hi, this is my name, and I'm going to do the very best job I can to represent you. And I was like, sweet. That's what I want. You know, do your best. You know, there's not a lot of major issues that are going to affect my life here. Just don't mess around with me and don't cause drama. That's pretty cool.
Did he actually say, I'm going to do my best to represent you?
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. He said that to a lot of people. I mean, it doesn't hurt that I don't know exactly how it works, but I saw my second grade teacher holding a sign up for him. I'm like, yeah, I know her. She's honorable. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
When I was in college, I thought one time it'd be interesting to run for an office and be like, I'm just going to do whatever you tell me to. It's a representative situation here. I have some principles. My principles will be, I will honor the process of the law, but in terms of what you want me to do, I'll just ask.
Yeah.
And then whatever everybody tells me, I'll just try to represent you as best as I can based on what I'm hearing and just see what that would look like. I don't know that I'd want to do that now, but it's hard to just represent people. And I think it's a noble attempt to try to be considerate of your neighbors, to say, if you give me this power, I will use it out of consideration for you and not out of consideration for building my party.
That's very interesting. That's very interesting. And I've often thought about what it would look like to run a political campaign that just says, hey, I'm going to do my best, and that's it. You know, not unlike what this guy did, but just say, you know my reputation. I'm going to be kind. I'm going to be honorable, and that's it. I don't want to be a politician.
I don't think I do either. I keep thinking of different things. It would be like my main platform. And I've been trying this one on. I think I've told you this before, but I think it'd be interesting to try to run on, if I'm elected, those of you who didn't vote for me, I will be your favorite politician that you ever didn't vote for, because I will be considerate of you.
It's a little complicated, but I see what you're going for, and I like it.
I can smooth it out. Give me time. Like I'm just trying it out. It takes time to refine these things. I think this BS asymmetry principle is fascinating. I think it plays into the ongoing fake news debate. And I think this principle and the amount of work it takes explains why there's almost no penalty for just lying and making stuff up, and so much to gain. And it's why when I run into somebody who I think has integrity, I think I respect them even more now than I would have 10, 20, or 30 years ago, because I think it's harder to be motivated to do the right thing when this principle is true in our current climate.
Got it.
Knowing and exploiting this principle is something that people do. I get why they do it. And I just love how succinct this phrase is to describe the frustrating reality of how it works.
I mean, you've given me a ton of stuff to think about, so I'm just gonna take a minute.
You know who we need to thank?
Who?
Alberto Brandolini. Thank you, Alberto.
And nice wings, by the way, Alberto. Oh, wait. You're saying Alberto Brandolini was the guy that did the thing. I thought you were thinking a patron with Wing Hussar flair on the subreddit.
No. Alberto Brandolini, Italian programmer who came up with the BS asymmetry principle.
I like that a lot.
Me too.
I'm going to pull that out in meetings and stuff, and it's going to make me look smarter than I am, because You ever see people that reference things like Occam's razor?
Oh, yeah. They look smart.
Yeah, they do. I've got one of those now.
Occam's razor is smart. Yeah. I like the BS asymmetry principle even more than you, and I'm even more committed to it. I'm going to get a tribal armband that says it in Elvish. So
that's BS, but I'm not going to spend the energy it takes to refute that. So I feel like this topic is less of a topic and more of a confession on my part, because
it should be juicy.
I'm starting a garden. First of all, I owe you an apology, because you remember, I guess it was a year ago, the yard work thing. I think I've already apologized to you about this, but I am, for some reason, getting into a garden.
Yeah, I don't remember. I can't remember if you did. What would the apology have sounded like if you did, just to jog my memory?
You were talking about how you liked yard work, and I said, no, that's man's curse upon the earth, to work the weeds and all the whatever. I apologize,
I kind of remember
Matt.
you saying that. What did you say about the kind of person who would care about yard work? That would help me remember.
I said they waste time or something like that, and they're just not busy enough, I think I said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I said,
cool. All right. Now I'm remembering. Sure.
Yeah. So my point is, I said all that about you, and I owe you an apology because recently I have started a garden, like a serious garden.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I'm growing.
And you don't actually owe me an apology. You're allowed to not like something for a while and then like it later.
No. I feel like I owe you an apology. I was pretty firm about how I felt about all that stuff. So
apology accepted. Tell me about your garden.
Yeah. Corn, tomatoes, beans, etc.
Wow.
So I started planting all this, and then it didn't go well at first because we had a bunch of rain, and I tilled it up, and all my soil was rocky and clumpy. And I planted, and they just didn't start growing. The stuff just did not start growing because I think it had to do with the surface area contact of the seed and the dirt. I think there has to be...
In normal language, you're saying you didn't get it in the soil enough?
Yeah, the heat transfer from the soil to the seed was not enough to activate the germination process. That's what I think is...
okay.
Is germination the word when the seed starts to...
Yeah, I think that's right.
So anyway, I think about this stuff in like engineering terminology. Anyway, so I had a problem where this stuff wasn't germinating, and I'm not going to have a crop. It looks like it's coming in now. But late one night, I was sitting there editing a little bit, and I started to panic a little bit. I was like, you know what? If it just quit raining, we're one drought away from disaster here. And I have 4 children, and I am responsible to feed 4 children. And so in order to do that, I'm going to have to start relying on the fact that some people watch Smarter every day, or I can be nice to people and make people hopefully like me in order to get food for my kids, right? I don't know what was going on in my brain.
Was it panicky?
No, it wasn't panicky at all. I don't do that. But it was like a...
No, me neither. It's for weak people.
What'd you say?
Huh? What? Nothing. No, I said, I'm glad you weren't panicking. America is a great country.
So...
I'd like a soda.
Anyway, I don't know what you said. However, I ended up ordering 200 pounds of rice and beans.
What?
I don't know why I did this. But I thought to myself, if something went down and we didn't have food, because we don't keep a lot of food in the fridge, especially with HelloFresh, right? We do the HelloFresh thing. This is not an ad. This is just how we do life. And we like to cook and all that, but it's fresh. And I didn't have a lot of stuff to, I don't know. I'm not a prepper, but I bought a bunch of rice.
I mean, you just, when the last 30 seconds, acknowledge that you prep 200 pounds. And you also just put that on the interwebs. So now everybody knows that when the zompocalypse happens, the Sandlands have 200 pounds of beans and rice.
It was 4 5-gallon buckets. That's not 200 pounds, is it? I don't know what it is.
In that zip code, I picture those being 45 pounds full of most substances.
Okay. So my question is, am I dumb?
Well, no, I don't think so. I think about that here a lot, but people around here think about that a little more because we're very separated from all of your supply lines and everything else. I mean, if there's going to be a blizzard, our grocery stores will thin out a little bit pretty quick, and then there's nowhere to go. People don't understand how remote where I live is until they come here.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, if the grocery stores ran out and we had to figure it out here for a week, a month, pretty much everybody would be able to figure it out. They know what to do with the wilds and they know how to survive off of it. But we have a spreadsheet and a rotation. We buy some food, we keep it in a couple tubs, And at a certain point, it gets ready to expire. The spreadsheet alerts us. We eat that food. We buy new food and put it in there.
Do you really?
Yeah, Camilla's invention. She's brilliant. Have I mentioned that? She's
yeah,
brilliant.
You mentioned she's brilliant. But okay, I'm starting to feel better about myself.
Yeah, I just don't see how that's weird, man. It's kind of a grown-up realization that all the things that seem predictable and reliable aren't. So, I go to Nicaragua a lot, work down there, right?
Right.
And I've been getting updates. We were supposed to send people down from our church to go and work with our friends down there. Well, they're supposed to be there right now as we're recording. And a day before go time last week, we had to cancel the trip because our friends in Nicaragua contacted us and are like, it just ain't safe. There's a whole, I don't know, I don't want to say revolution, but stuff's pretty touchy there. There's enormous violent friction.
Political instability.
Yeah, between the Ortega government and people who I think are over it. And so I saw a video of the street in Granada, Nicaragua, in front of where we stay in the hotel, and just violence happening there. People in masks and gas, and the beautiful governor's mansion in the main square there in Granada, I think that's the building it was on fire. This place is so beautiful and colonial and safe. And my friends are saying things like, yeah, the grocery stores are almost empty. We were able to get this much food. Like, these are my friends. These are people who I know pretty well, and there's nothing you can do. Nothing you can do from here. You can't go down. I don't want to go down. It's not even that like nature or the zompocalypse might happen. It's that if at some point the people just quit agreeing to an order that had been working for a while and step away from it, it will break for a while. And so if a couple 100 pounds of beans and rice could get you through it, then I think it's a pretty good investment.
I kind of told my wife this, and I felt, I'm not going to say ashamed, but I felt weird telling her. I can't explain why. I said, hey, I want to tell you something. And she's like, what? I was like, some 5-gallon buckets of beans and rice might show up at the door, and I bought it. And she goes, huh. And she kind of sat there for a second, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is she going to say? And she said, that might be the most important thing you've ever done. You never know. And I was like, oh, thank goodness.
What response did you think you were going to get?
I don't know. I don't know why I was so apprehensive about this, but I was. Maybe there's a stereotype of the prepper person, and I don't want that.
Yeah, that's fair.
But there was this moment when I thought, I got to keep these kids safe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's your job.
Yeah.
Well, two things. One, I'm not going to chastise you for being worried that your wife might have made fun of you, but I know a lot of people. I've hung out with a lot of people. I'd say I'm even friends with a lot of people. I don't know a lot of people who have a wife who is as simultaneously hyper competent as your wife and wildly supportive of their husband as your wife is.
Oh, I know that. She's fantastic.
She has got your back, and it ain't because she's dumb. She's got your back, and she can handle her business. So I'm not surprised that she could see it. But the second thing is, look, whether it's a product of evolution or some grand design on the part of a deity, there is something about a dude that is wired to say, I need to protect my offspring. I need to protect the people in my life who I care for. And you know what? A ton of the stuff that makes me cry in movies relates to that. I watched this movie with Martin Freeman on Netflix. It's about a zompocalypse, the end of things, and prepping, and who was ready and who wasn't. And he figures out, this is all in the trailer, he figures out that he has to save his baby daughter, that the zompocalypse is happening, that he can't escape it himself, and he has a certain amount of time to save his daughter. I think the movie's called Cargo. Watch it alone. Camilla doesn't like that stuff. Mm-hmm. And I found it very moving, profoundly moving. Just because there's something very instinctive in me that says, I love these people in my life, and I need to have at least thought to somehow be ready to help if we're in a desperate situation. And you never think you're going to be in that spot.
That sounds like a Denzel Washington plot movie is what that sounds like. Like John Q or something like that.
Yeah. I can see that.
There was something that happened in me. There's a word for it. I don't know what it is, but
Farvignugan.
When I was dating my wife, I knew that I wanted to protect her. And then when I married her, it was like this click happened. And I was like, okay, cool. I would die for you. I would do that before we got married, but now it's like official. Like, I'm the guy that dies for you. I don't know how to explain that. And then we had a baby. and the baby got there, and I'm in the hospital room, and the baby arrives, and that weird thing happened where I'm no longer the most important person in the world to my wife. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Hard for me at first, but I figured it out real quick.
Yeah, it took me 3 babies before I really can say I figured it out. But yeah, I mean, you go from I'm the most important person in the world to my spouse, and then the baby gets here, and like, okay, the baby is the most important person in the world to my spouse, and I am no longer the most important person in the world to anybody. It's the most selfish thought I've ever had, but it took me a while to be honest with myself. And then at that moment, I said, okay, not only am I the guy that dies for you, but I'm the guy that actively has a plan to destroy anyone who would cause you harm. Do you know what I'm saying?
I understood every word. I might not choose those words just because they're scary words.
They're scary words. Like, General, or not, oh, he's not general anymore, but the Secretary of Defense, John Mattis, he wrote a letter to everyone, and he said something about, being honorable because we are the ones entrusted by the nations to use violence. And I don't know, in that moment when my daughter was born, it's like, okay, everything just changed. This is not about 2 people going through life. This is about me doing everything within my power to make your life successful and setting up a hedge of protection around you and to do things. So when it was late at night and I was sitting there looking at the Amazon cart filled with rice and beans, there's several different companies that do this sort of thing. They just sell buckets of rice. I was simultaneously ashamed that I was doing it because I was like, oh man, this is weird. This sounds like a crazy person thing. And I was also disappointed in myself for not having done it before. It was just a really deep moment, and it was just a bucket of rice, dude. But I don't know. It's something I've never thought about.
I get it.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I don't think you're being crazy at all. I think the only thing that gave you, if I'm hearing you right, any hiccup there is just the stigma attached to some of what goes along with, bunker builders. And maybe those people aren't entirely nuts. I don't know. My wife does layout and design, and somehow through the internet, she ended up being contracted to do the layout and design for a prepper magazine. And I told you what our entire plan is. We don't have much going on, but it's not nuts. It's pretty sane, pretty smart, like intelligent, level-headed reviews of firearms and just suggestions and tips. And I actually came to really like the magazine and look forward to when she edited it and get to look over her shoulder at what the articles were. Because there's a bunch of stuff in there where I kind of didn't want to admit I was into it. But it was like, oh, you know what? Mental note. I'm remembering that one. That could come in handy later. I don't know. Like, make fun of people sometimes. And sometimes they're just really easy targets to make fun of. And so they get made fun of maybe disproportionately. But like just about everybody, I think those people have a point. And conspiracy theory people, like, they're only wrong until the conspiracy turns out to be true. I generally think conspiracy theories are nuts, per the video I just made on my channel. But like, remember 15 years ago when people are like, the government's monitoring all of our emails and our phone conversations. And we were like, idiot. No, they're not. You're so dumb. Oh, conspiracy people. Well, I mean, other than being completely right, they were wrong. Except for the fact they were totally right all along. Hey, every now and then maybe somebody does have a point, even if they're wrong most of the time.
You know what the interesting thing about all this was? The buckets of rice are supposed to be good for 30 years.
Ooh.
And when it showed up at my house, the delivery driver threw it on the step and it busted open and rice was everywhere. So I don't know.
Delivery driver.
I don't know what that means, but I wrote the company a letter and was like, hey, this isn't 30 years worth of rice now. What do I do? So
did they fix it?
I don't know. I'm waiting on the email to see if they do.
Interested to see. 30 years. You could take that to space, man.
I thought it was interesting, You
get a long ways into our solar system on a 30-year bucket of rice.
Well, no. You can't eat 30 years worth of meals off of it.
I get that. I'm just saying 30 years. No, I'm not making fun of you. I'm just saying I wouldn't have guessed it would last for 30 years. I think it's a really good investment. I'm not making fun of you.
I just checked my email. They have not replied.
And here, I'll take it a step further. Last night, I thought about exactly this stuff. I told you we went up to this little lake, the high mountains here, and I fished and hung out with Camilla. And as I was fishing, I was like, hey, there's the first brook trout. I pulled it out and held it up. And there was some little thing in me that was kind of proud that I'd caught a fish because we were up there with basically no supplies for just a quick little hike and fishing. And I just threw out. I was like, hey, 10 more of these and I have provided for you. And she laughed and she's like, well, try to get 20 so we both eat. Ha 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 ha. And then every fish I caught in my brain, I was like, my wife is 3/10 fed. My wife is 1/2 fed. Catch more fish. Continue.
Yeah. She was joking, but deep down there was some caveman stuff going on. Lizard brain.
Yeah, or whatever you want to call it. So, no, nice job buying stuff, dude. Good job loving your family. You're a good dad, and I will not score social points against you for you being a weird prepper.
Thank you for reassuring me about my weird bucket of rice crisis moment. I appreciate that.
If you were wrong, I would have mocked you. Stepping away from the conversation for one quick second to do what we want to do in every episode, which is to say thank you to the patrons. Those are the people who support the show, kick in actually financially on this. We have costs with the thing, and it just opens up all kinds of opportunities to keep doing this and to make it work. It's humbling and it's kind, and I know we say this all the time, but we say it all the time because we mean it. So as always, just a gigantic thank you to everyone who supports us at patreon.com/nodumbquestions, and a gigantic thank you to everybody who doesn't, because either way, honestly, we're just delighted that you're here. Thanks for hanging out with us and letting us be a part of what you do. All right, back to the conversation. Okay, this topic I think dovetails right in with what we were just talking about. I've got a meeting coming up, so we got to hit this one a little quick, but I think that'll be okay. There is a thread that I just sent you a link to on Reddit about daughters of Reddit and their relationships with their dads. Do you see that one?
Yes.
Okay, you got that pulled up there?
Pulling it up now?
It is not too often that a Reddit thread will make me tear up, but this one got me pretty close.
Okay.
Here's the official title. Daughters of Reddit who have a great relationship with their father. What did he do raising you that enabled your relationship to stay close to this day? Saw that. I saw that it had almost 13,000 upvotes, and I thought, there is wisdom in this that I need to glean. So thank you, Reddit community, for helping me. And the top post had me hooked. I don't know.
The one that starts, "My dad is the best"?
Yeah. Podaroo is the name. And she gives this bullet-pointed list of what he did. And I'm just going to read it to you. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 1, he read to us. And she lists, The Hobbit and Dr. Dolittle and things like that. There are passages of certain books that I still hear in my father's voice, with the sense memory of snuggling up warm against him in my parents' big bed and feeling the vibrations of his voice in his chest. If you don't have a kid, that might sound weird. If you do, that's just so neat to picture what that experience that we're doing right now might be like to them in memory years from now. He was kind. And she says, wasn't perfect, sometimes lost temper, but he was gentle and nice. He obviously loves and respects our mother. And the comment acknowledges that not everything's perfect, not every marriage is always happy, but that made a difference to her. He was honest. He made time for us. We ate dinner together. We did things together. He was there. What do you think of her list?
This is the deep water. He was there. That one hit me in the forehead.
He was there. Yeah. Yeah, because people like you and me, we can't do all the things that we do. I mean, we're trying to be redemptive. We're trying to be useful. We got our hands in a lot of things. We can't do that without being not there a decent percentage of the time.
Yeah, I try to minimize that. And I do silly things to try to make things matter. Does that make sense? You know this more than I do. I mean, you're good at this. You come up with little things that you're going to do together specifically to have a story.
Yeah.
I've seen you do this. You're great at it.
Yeah, and I've seen you do it, and I've seen us put our heads together to bring both of our kids in the same vehicle into that kind of experience.
Oh, you're talking about the arcade adventure?
The arcade adventure was pretty solid, among other things.
It was solid. My favorite part is when we would dole out, like, there were peanuts and M&Ms, and based on who's got their arms crossed, okay, that means you get 3 green M&Ms, and they didn't know the value of the candy.
It was ruthlessly arbitrary.
At the end where we would tally them up, and we, obviously these are monies, and how many monies do you have? Mm-hmm. That was so good. Yeah, this is getting back to the topic. This is huge. I think a lot of the ills of the world could be fixed with authentic fatherhood. There's a guy that showed up the other day. He is going around the entire nation mowing yards for single mothers, veterans who can no longer do it, and the elderly. And not only that, he's teaching young people how to do it.
Huh.
He calls it, I think it's raising men or something like that. I forget what it is, but he's got this shirt. You've seen the shirt of the evolving man.
Yeah.
He walks upright, and then the final form of the man is a man pushing a lawnmower. And he had me do something called the 50-yard challenge. And that is, over the span of my life, I am to mow 50 yards for people just because it's the right thing to do.
What are you at right now?
I mean, I've done it a lot in the past, but right now I'm at 0 because
Those don't count.
Yeah, I know they don't. I took it the other day. I'm at 0 right now. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it's simple, good, and I think with our kids, with our daughters, we are positioned to do countless acts of simple good.
I'm sorry, I took it off topic, but
No. It's no. I get the connection in my brain. I see how you got there.
I want to be that. So what he was to me, I want to be to her. I guess that's the connection.
Yeah. These people in this thread, these dads who are on the other end of these comments, maybe never even reading any of these, they made a big difference in the world. Not just in the lives of these women who are writing these very thoughtful posts, just beautifully written post after beautifully written post. But there's no way these women aren't out making the world better, raising their kids well.
Did you read all of these?
I read deep into this thread.
I feel like this warrants more than just a little segment on the Grabbler thing here.
Yeah, you want to read all the way through the thing and revisit it next episode?
Yeah.
I see some patterns here that I feel like I don't have time to flesh out for you right now, but I'm kind of taking notes on this, and I think this is going to affect some things about how I parent, and maybe we should talk about it more. Or it doesn't have to be next episode, we can do it whenever.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Cool. Well, should we call that a wrap for today? Because I've got 14 minutes before I have to go and be pastorally again.
Holy cow, dude. I mean, we started off making fun of you for emails and, the wrong picture on your Wikipedia page, and we ended up like...
I deserved it. I'm bald.
Caring for our families and strategizing about how to be a better parent and husband.
Murdering fish for the well-being of our wives.
That's cool, man. Thanks for being this kind of person that I can do this with.
It means a lot. It's been one of my favorite parts of our friendship is that we can have days like we've had today running around doing all kinds of important stuff, and it's good to have a friend you can get into the deep water with. I appreciate it.
Yeah, to recalibrate. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I still think you're dumb, though.
Oh, that's weird, because I think you have a weird-shaped head. Kind of a shovel head, or like a melon shovel if it was a flat
man.
melon.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you, dude.
It was fun, buddy. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, dude. Later.